Cesar Cavazos, and then the rest of the support guys. Can somebody nod or put something on the chat acknowledging that you can hear me? Okay. It's all yours.
Okay, so first of all,
You have to be loud.
so I have almost 6 years of really game engine development experience. I pretty much started learning C++ when I was 15. What do you mean?
Speaking too softly.
Okay. I started working on a large social mobile game 3 years ago for iOS. I've used ++, OpenFane, Mobage, and Gree. I've integrated each of them over the past 3 years. I've first used OpenFane and then switched to when it was Njimoto, and because I prefer the user interface of that. And then I've used Gree as well.
You need to talk close to the mic. That's what they're saying. They can't hear you.
How can I?
Just pick it up with your hand, like the driver does.
Yeah, I can talk about it. I attended the first ever free-to-play summit in London, because freemium is now this like thing. It's like never happened before, but now it's a real model for pricing. And I've also visited Gree's offices in San Francisco. What struck me was the sheer size of their offices, and it's all built off social mobile games. It's got like panoramic views of the AT&T park and stuff like that. So Ben Cousins in 2011 used the lead of Njimoto in Sweden. He said that platforms that don't embrace free-to-play won't survive. So it's really something that you've got to focus on in these times. The virtual goods market was $7.3 billion in 2010, and it will double by 2014. And that was on the Gree slides in the London Free-to-Play Summit. So by 2015, the free-to-play industry is going to be about 15 billion. So Supercell. Have you heard of this company?
Supercell?
Yeah. So they make freemium social games for iOS. They make $750,000 a day.
Is this the group that makes a game a month?
No, this is, have you heard of Clash of Clans?
No.
And Heyday? Yeah.
Is that true though?
Yeah.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's all on news sites and stuff. 600 million valuation, and this is for 2 games.
Are they hiring?
Yeah. Not here.
Yes, there, of course.
We are hiring.
It's all in the same. It's all in the same country as like Rovio and stuff.
Definitely the Joe guy.
Finland, right?
Unfortunately not.
And this is.
Finland though. How did it work?
Yeah. So
The Hubble Hotel guy?
2 games, iOS only, tablet first. Literally, not even Android. Okay, so this is also interesting. The active user base of the Android store is 23% of the iTunes App Store. So if you're going to do average revenue per user, it's going to be much higher in iOS than Android. However, the advantage of Android is that obviously you're going to have a bigger user base either way, and so you're getting the word out there. But iOS is much bigger. Supercell said that tablets will dominate gaming in 3 to 5 years. So time spent on games for tablets is actually 67%. This is from Flurry Statistics, compared to phones, which is only like 39%, but then you've got like all of the social networking aspects.
You mentioned the advantage of Android with this reach, but the tablet side of iOS got reach basically to a 2 to 1, 2.3 to 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you repeat
For
that?
tablet, iOS, Android tablet?
1.3 iOS. Could you repeat that so they can hear?
On the tablet.
Repeat.
Well, yeah.
3 to 1, Android on the smartphone.
So what Michael King asked is, or said, is that there's more business in the tablet than the smartphones, something like that, right?
There's small iOS tablets.
The what?
Small iOS tablets and there's Android tablets.
Right, there's more iOS tablets, which is just one iPad, than Android tablets.
Countries with greatest number of active iOS and Android devices, and so US and China absolutely dominate every other country. So the US is obviously the biggest right now, but China in the future is going to be the biggest industry. So it's definitely a country that we need to focus on. So this is Supercell's Clash of Clans, the game that makes loads and loads of money. So it's basically the general formula of a premium game. It's got like gems, coins, it's got like a shop, it's got events happening all the time.
So how do they make money? Do they sell things in the game, or is it a game that you buy?
Pretty much well, I'll show you.
Okay.
So the core loop of Clash of Clans is collect resources, build and train, battle, and time is what costs. So you need to use gems if you want to speed things up. And actually, Clash of Clans has a leaderboard which you actually have to pay money to get to the top. So yeah, the more you spend, the higher you get in the rankings.
And people do pay. People do fall for that.
Yes,
Sadly.
Yes.
Cool.
cool if you are the developer.
Yeah.
I think it's your
So this is where it comes from. Yeah. £13, but yeah. So users can actually spend £70 in an instant, like just by clicking on that, and that'll instantly get them like a few weeks of advantage.
Have you bought any of this?
No. So this is actually a different game. This is Dragon Veil, which is also in the top 10 grossing on the iOS App Store. Yeah. I don't really see the difference. It's all the same like type of layout, and that's what Dragon Veil looks like. So you can actually, I mean, the great thing about these games is they're really polished. Like users like want to make the place look better, and they want to compete with other people. So they're obviously going to spend money to try and look the best, have the best stuff, and be higher in the leaderboards for park value. So this park is quite expensive. So there's 3 game categories. There's casual, hardcore, and these, I mean, like, up to now, gaming has been split into these 2 categories. Casual is kind of like your Angry Birds, kind of just 5 minutes on the bus. Hardcore is obviously like Call of Duty.
All day.
And now there's a new category called midcore, which is kind of like a balance between casual and hardcore. And so you've got like a casual experience that's crossed with hardcore elements. So, for example, NG America are actually working on a first-person 3D shooter, which is like Call of Duty, but it actually has casual elements. And so, that's pretty much. And the 3 pricing models: premium, freemium, and paymium. Premium is like the old way of doing things, like, I don't know, cut the road, Angry Birds, all that sort of thing. Freemium is the new way of doing things, and paymium is kind of like, it's, someone from EA said that paymium is like the poor man's freemium. It's like, so it's basically a paid game, so it has an initial cost, and it also has freemium purchases.
Within the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in fact, you do the game initially, and then you buy things in the game for free.
You pay for the game and then you buy
pay
items.
the game up front, and then there's
You spend more money.
in the game as well. But the problem with this is that the user base is not going to be as big. If it's free, you're going to get a lot more downloads. But however, the advantage of paying is that you're obviously everybody that downloads the game is going to pay some money. So it's kind of more reassuring for companies that are launching games that take a long time. But it's kind of a model that you would choose if you're not really confident about your freemium model. So it's not really. So the first factor for creating a successful social game is obviously making it cross-platform, because you want as many users as possible, pretty much. You want to get on as many platforms as possible. You want as many people in the world to play your game and tell other people about it. And EA said fragmentation is our friend, because Chilingo has been working on focusing on fragmentation of like Android and stuff like that, and trying to get their games on as many platforms as possible. Retention. This is hugely important, because obviously you don't want people playing your game for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even a day, or even a week. You want players playing your game for months and months. And so you want long life cycles, and you want stickiness, which draws people back. And you need to evaluate your daily active users and monthly active users, and be sure that the daily active users is not like dropping off compared to the monthly active users. Usually successful games have 15 to 20% ratio. This is actually a chart Zinger. Oh. So, virality, social sharing, gifting, friends, incentivized invites. This is actually Gree's process for it. You can actually invite friends when you actually achieve things in the game. So it increases virality, and so gifting, like if you gift someone something, they're obviously going to feel a lot better. They're going to feel that, oh, someone's given me something, so I should return to the game.
So it's about not just gaming, but social gaming.
Yeah.
So do all of these sort of their own methodology? I think we have like invite a friend to Facebook and other things like that.
Yeah.
Integration, say, Twitter or Instagram or anything else like that, so we can piggyback on this other social.
Yeah, the Gree platform has something where you can add like Twitter friends, Facebook friends, emails, contacts, and obviously the other big social games actually that don't use like platforms like Gree, they have the Facebook SDK integrated, so and Game Center.
The most that is over one player, a single, like, hey, I'm going to invite a friend,
Yeah.
send a message. I mean, like, utilizing things like Twitter, to update high scores or to update progress. I think it's deeper integration and next level integration. Do they even do that right now?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, I don't know, things like posting status updates, I don't think that works terribly well because people obviously don't want to be posting to their timeline so much. But what the thing that is important is actually getting users to be on your platform through Facebook and Twitter, and so not kind of like posting. I mean, you can post to Facebook, like in my game I've got like you can post your screenshots to friends and stuff. But yeah. Localization, target individual regions of the world, making language and cultural changes. So the problem is with most apps is that they just release globally all at once and then don't take into account all of the language and cultural differences between every country. So say for example, if you suddenly had a global launch, even if you had, say, Chinese language implemented, the Chinese are still going to look at it as a Western game. If you target specific regions and implement the culture of the place, actually one game got feedback that did this, and people in Japan thought it was a Japanese company that made it, and so it was massively successful in Japan. This diagram is actually one of my apps. Analytics is seriously important. This is like how Zinger originally operated. Like they would put out their games and constantly analyze every single aspect of how users are interacting with the game and tweaking it so that it's in an ideal kind of ideal game mechanics, ideal conversion, ideal monetization, and just by analyzing data. So the compulsion loop is obviously what draws people back.
What does that mean? What's a compulsion loop?
The compulsion loop is what kind of compulses players to come back. And like here, if you plant a crop, you can't do anything else now. You have to come back to the game later. And so you'll come back to the game later to tap on the crop, and you'll receive a reward. And this gets people coming back to your game. And continuous in-game events is also important because, say for example, you have some sort of daily reward system. A lot of games have like a daily thing where you tap every day and you get more coins or something. So A/B testing is where you can segregate players and change aspects of the game, kind of like I'm looking into it though. For my own game, I'm using Amazon services. So they've got a lot of loads of features like that. Like there's been like whole presentations about what they offer for A/B testing and things like that. I haven't got any further than that though.
Let me know if you come across anything interesting, because that's very hot topic, not only for games, but also for just mobile apps.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the cloud is something that all game data is going to be through the cloud. So you can actually have apps and browser-based games loading the same stuff. So if you have if you create a user world on the iPhone, for example, you could actually view it in the browser and continue to interact when you're on your phone, on the move, or at the computer. You also obviously need to think beyond the game, like IP and things like that.
So how do you go about browser-based games? You mean like HTML5 games ported to the app, or
well, like
the same?
like Facebook games, like Farmville, like on Facebook.
I've seen them before.
Like Flash games, HTML5.
Okay.
It's
kind of like cut the rope.
Cut the rope.
They
Yeah,
have-
I think that's on Facebook.
No, but they have a web version.
Yeah, that's not really an example of social game.
No, it's not social, but
Okay.
I'm just okay.
Like Farmville.
Farmville.
Yeah. So cross-app promotion is huge as well, because it's a great way of getting people to download the apps that are on your network and giving them rewards in the existing app. This actually improves the users for all of your apps a lot. Like Nimblebit kind of thrive on this. They have like Tiny Tower and Pocket Planes and all of that, and they've got all the free apps, which is like Scoops, Skyburger, and these are free, completely free. There's no like purchases in it, and all of like Skyburger had like 10 million downloads, Scoops had 8 million downloads, something like that, and this like drives users to Tiny Tower, which actually is an app that has monetization. So yeah, that helps a lot. For freemium games, usually 1 to 5% of users spend money if your game is free. So that's not actually a lot. It may not seem like a lot, but if you have like 5 million users and 1 to 5% of users are spending money, and you have £69 in-app purchases, yeah, it's going to bring you quite a lot of revenue, and what you need to focus on is maximizing this conversion rate for users spending money. So, user acquisition, this is how like DNA and Gree get so many users and drive their massive profit. Lifetime value, average revenue per user minus costs over weighted average, I can't remember. Weighted average cost of capital minus subscriber acquisition costs. And so, if you calculate this, then the cost of acquiring users has to be slightly less than the profits that you're going to make. So yeah. So why would you choose Monitor with all the like existing things that are around? I mean, you've got things like Unity 3D, which is seriously mature, and they've got an absolutely massive, like 1 million developers or something like that. Why would you choose Monitor? So the great thing is that we have ACS, and we also have an analytics platform, and so we do have some sort of cloud integration, and I think that okay.
User, you already got revenue for users, lifetime value, and strategic user. So you've got cost per acquisition, but within that there's no calculation of the cost to actually develop the game, cost to actually produce the game. Which obviously has to count whatever the FAC is.
Yeah, I mean, weighted average cost of capital. I mean, you're obviously going to take into account the.
I guess what I'm getting at is the next slide is your cost for Lanica, or your why use Lanica. If you lower the actual cost of the actual game development, right, by reducing the amount of code, the code complexity, as well as adding a fair amount of value with ACS and reducing code complexity there, I would think it would give you a lot more room within that calculation if the actual production of the game cost is lower.
Yeah. You want to break out the equation. You want to break that. What Mike's recommending is that you ought to take this equation break it out that has a cost of engineering associated with building the application.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm specifically interested in, once you pull that apart, right, because there's cost of acquisition and all these pieces that get mixed in, because then you can take the cost of engineering and then you can apply the special cost of accelerator, right?
Moreover, what you're doing is when you split it out, right, because you've got your ARPU and your lifetime value, your cost per acquisition, all that sort of thing like that, right? What you have in here is you have a couple of pieces that fall out, right? So straight cost per acquisition, the larger your audience, the lower that cost of acquisition is. Yeah, per acquisition. So by the fact it's cross-platform, it means that you're developing sort of
You've got a
bigger audience, bigger funnel, if you will. And so when you do split that out, you've got two advantages there by using the Lambda platform. A, cross-platform and global distribution, right? And then B, lower cost of engineering. So those would be two advantages you might want to call out within the equation itself.
Low development costs. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Low development costs widens your audience, same cost.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we could actually tailor ACS analytics. The GRE platform is actually not that mature yet. They literally only have like leaderboards, achievements, a share feature, invites, and so we could actually do this in ACS. And actually, it would be a good idea to try and become a platform for social games because, Lanica platform is currently 2D only, so I think that if they try and focus on something which will actually recreate something like Clash of Clans or Dragonvale or Farmville or any of these types of things, there's actually no platform at the moment that allows you to quickly create these types of games. It's all like under the hood. It's kind of secret, all of this. A lot of the social games actually use the Amazon services. From what I found out.
Do you have like a new metric on adoption and ARPU for 3D versus 2D games?
I don't have like statistics, but pretty much the future, in my opinion, is going to be 3D.
Sure, but I'm just saying, if you're saying, I'm going to make an investment in 3D that works well, but for the next 12 months, I'm going to develop this 2D game because the adoption characteristics are not markedly different than the 3D. There's additional work to make a 3D game.
Yeah, there is additional work.
Is valuable enough that your ARPUs are higher?
2D games are not going to go away anytime soon, like ever. So it's not a waste of time to make 2D games. So it's not a massive issue. 3D games are hugely more complex as well, because obviously you've got all of the graphics coding and all of the art, and you need all the 3D. But like I say here, the 2D games, the most important thing is getting the art right for the 2D games. So you can still make it look great in 2D, and that will still make people want to download it and use it. 2D games are actually a lot more accessible. 3D games, developers are really trying to find out the best way for user interface interaction with 3D games. Because with a 2D game, you can just fire it up, it quickly loads, but you just literally tap. And that's why Angry Birds was successful, because you just drag your finger and it was just easy to use. But with 3D games, it's a lot more hardcore, and I obviously it's going to be slower to use and things like that. So
I have a question. Games like Temple Run.
Yeah.
Would you consider that a 3D game? Because it's 3D,
3D game.
but at the same time you really don't move around. You just left and right. That's it. up and down.
Yeah, I'd classify that as a kind of 2.5D game. Yeah, it's kind of like this endless runner concept. So a lot of people have tried to copy it.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like Agent Dash or something.
Yeah, so that's an example of a 3D game that has user interaction suited for mobile. So just like literally just swipe left and right, and that's why people have tried to copy it.
Expand that.
That's pretty much the end of it.
So I have a question. Do you see mobile games surpassing PC games?
Oh yeah.
Is it really happening?
Wait.
I'm not against it.
For revenue, for sure, hands down, and probably volume of titles. Yeah, absolutely.
Console games, PC games.
There's no way console games match indirect revenue in phone.
Sounds like League of Legends is really popular, and that's using the premium strategy. And PC, that's just one of the most played games.
And then how do you see the fact that a PlayStation game is like $50-$60? The same game on iPad is like maybe $5 most.
That's why you're complicating.
I mean, there's such a big difference when the game is the same.
It's due to the competition. Like the costs are driving down.
Revenue, okay, I'll buy that. Yeah.
Also, they have two different games. For example, FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA.
FIFA is the one in the PlayStation, that's the one at the iPad.
Even better, it's different every year.
Yeah, it's different every year.
Right, but how do you see, how do you see such a big difference in price from $50, $60, $70 versus $5 the most?
So there's so much competition on mobile. Companies trying to acquire the most users, and so the prices have driven down over time, and eventually become free.
Okay. Guys, any questions on this topic, anything at all?
No, I think it's cool. Very glad. I'd love to help someone else pull that equation out.
Now,
I'd really like to see that equation.
from your personal experience in all of this, how do you see the future of Lenica with titanium? You see that as a real future here?
Yeah,
Definitely.
but I think it needs to be done right. So.
If you want. Can you expand on that?
I think, well, right now, Lenica are slightly behind with all of the existing platforms that are out there. But so I think that if Lenica try to offer something that the other platforms don't have, so yeah, I mean, it's so if we focus on like something like the cloud, for example, ACS and things like that, I think that if we try and get the games more social and make the process of creating something like Farmville a lot easier.
So is that managing the archetype, making it easier, or helping with like layout within the game engine itself, like community platform?
Yeah. Well, so you've got two things. You've got the server side and you've got the client side. And so on the client side, you obviously need some sort of tile-based system. I mean, like Lenica right now, say for example, we're working on that tanks game. It doesn't really look great. I'm being honest. So I think we need to focus on basically they need games on the platform that are hugely successful and gives developers a reason to want to use that platform.
So being cross-platform is not the only reason why people are going to want to use it?
No, because like Unity 3D, that's cross-platform to Android, iOS, Wii U, Xbox, PC, Mac, Linux, everything.
Okay.
Already.
Does anyone online have a question? Speak up.
If you want to blow that equation out, I think it'd be a cool thing to put to the developer block.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would find a lot of folks find that pretty interesting. Just in terms of how they're calculating their engineering efforts and the games they're building with the apps. So if you want, you can do that.
Yeah. So what Michael King is suggesting is to put some of this information up on the developer blog. This way we can draw more people into using our platform and be more successful. Mauro, don't be afraid. Speak up. We can hear you if you do.
I mean, we obviously don't want to like share too much.
Well, no, I mean, obviously.
So this information, hello. So is this information public? Can we share with people asking us, oh, what's the state of the this thing?
While I'll make the presentation available, I prefer to keep it in-house.
Okay, perfect.
I don't really want.
Can I ask you, Daniel, what concerns you about which part of it? and the reason I say this is this, because I think it's a good presentation to proliferate. I don't think that it necessarily needs to go to the top of the blog, but I think the information that you're presenting here is valuable when you distribute it. And when you distribute it and proliferate it, it compounds the value behind it, such as, for instance, like breaking out the equation, whereas mine giving more in-depth analysis as to an inflection. Now, how much of that you want to share, because it's clearly your work and effort, but I guess,
I mean, this is all public information.
yeah, proliferating the pieces that you think are interesting and valuable.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the whole value, quite frankly, of even our own core product, right? Because through the proliferation, it actually compounds value.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it can be public. All of the content that I've included is public. But yeah.
Okay, Mauro, you get that? You don't need to speak if you did. Does anybody else have anyone online? I know Federico is dying to say something.
No, not really, Pedro. I just really love the presentation, and I think that Daniel touched a really good point talking about the integration with the and cloud services. I was talking about that with other day with some friends of mine now working in Seattle for Microsoft. They're pretty much doing the same thing, and I think it's a super hot position in the market right now for this. So I totally agree with this. I only have actually one question for Daniel. I think that you talked about that, but I was not really hearing that well. So you talked about Unity. Have you used that? Have you tried it out? And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I have used Unity. I haven't developed like a game with it, but I've kind of broken it down because I've been developing my own type of Unity thing. So yeah, I have used it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, Unity is huge, and a lot of indie companies are going to use it in the near future and future to develop the new type of mid-core games for the mobile platform. So there's going to be a lot more 3D games out of that. So, yeah.
Okay. Junaid is asking, is Lenica thinking of making a game editor in the future, something like the Unity game engine has?
A game?
I'm sorry. Is Lenica thinking of making a game editor in the future, something like the Unity engine has? So instead of just being a framework, will they create their own game engine?
Yeah, I think that's also important. I mean, obviously they've bought that Flash tool to do animations. That's a step in the right direction, I guess. It really has to be a whole tool set for people developing games. So you need like particle editors, you need animation editors, all of these types of things. I think it does need that, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? everybody, go back to work. Clap, clap. All right, thanks, Daniel. Everyone
has left the conference.